Elaine Unleashed back at you from right here at the Green Thumb Gardening Channel, right here in Row Zone 8B in Tifton, Georgia. And in this evening's video, YouTube, let me bring you guys along with me as I harvest our bush beans here that we're currently growing along the sidewalk in our backyard food forest, YouTube. We planted those bush beans over here, YouTube, roughly about a month ago here, YouTube. And today is indeed harvest day for these bush beans we're growing over here, YouTube. I'm gonna spin this camera around for you guys and show you what our bush bean plants are currently looking like over here at the sidewalk, YouTube. I'm gonna flip those bushes over, show you guys the abundance of beans that they've produced for us here in the past month here along the sidewalk. And then we're gonna go ahead and harvest those bush beans today, YouTube. Hang tight. All right, YouTube, here we are at the sidewalk here next to the vineyard in our backyard food forest here, YouTube. And these are our bush bean plants here. We planted originally 16 bush bean seeds here in this location, YouTube. All except 2 of those bush bean seeds actually germinated for us here along the sidewalk in our backyard food forest here, YouTube. Today is again day 30, YouTube. I'm going to push these bushes aside for you guys and show you guys what's going on beneath these bushes down here, YouTube. You guys see all of those beans down in there, YouTube? We're gonna get down in there today. I'm gonna harvest these bush beans, and they are dense down in there, guys. Can you see that? We'll get down in there. We're gonna harvest these bush beans today, YouTube. Then we're gonna bring you guys back and show you the totality of our bush bean harvest from our bush bean plants back here on the sidewalk in our backyard food forest. Hang tight, YouTube. I'm going to get my camera set up here on my tripod. We're going to get this harvest video underway. All right, YouTube, we're back, and I have my camera set up on my tripod here at a somewhat odd angle that should give you guys a pretty good view of my activities as I harvest these bush beans. Hang tight. I'm going to get this video underway. Our now 30-day-old bush beans that we're currently growing here along the sidewalk in our backyard food forest. This is our first year, of course, YouTube. Most of you guys have been following our channel for a while. Know that this is our first year having our food forest here in our backyard. The previous 3 seasons consecutively, we've grown everything in our front yard in raised bed containers. This is our first year actually growing anything in our native ground soil here in our backyard, YouTube. And I must admit that our plants seem to love this soil back here in our backyard, because everything that we've planted in soil back here so far has indeed produced well for us back here in our food forest. And that lets us know that we can continue the process of planting directly in the soil back here. We won't have much of a need for raised bed planters back here in our backyard food forest, YouTube. And that'll save us a lot on gardening soil, fertilizer, etc. when we plant our crops back here in the back. From this point on, from this year on, YouTube, our intentions are to only grow predominantly food crops back here in our food forest, and grow mostly our flowers for pollinators in our front yard garden extended grow area. I'm going to keep this harvest video as short as possible here, YouTube. Get in here as swiftly as I possibly can. Get these beans removed from these plants. And again, as promised,
at the beginning of this video, I will show you guys the totality of my bush bean harvest. My first of what I expect to be at least 2 harvests here from these plants before they run their course here in our food forest, possibly 3. Our plants are still in pretty good shape. They're still blooming for us here. They're still producing another round of beans here for us, so hopefully that progress will continue, that process will continue here, and we get at least one more good crop, one more good harvest of beans from these plants back here in our food forest. We are currently about halfway done with this harvest, YouTube. We have, again, 2 rows here. We planted a total of 16 seeds. 14 of those seeds germinated, 2 didn't. We call that a fantastic germination rate here at the Green Thumb Gardening Channel. I don't know about you guys. That's about a 98% germination rate here in this location. And again, we direct sowed these seeds in our native soil back here. We didn't plant these seeds in seed germination trays and then transplant the seedlings here. We planted these seeds directly in the ground soil here. That's been approximately 30 days ago, YouTube. We did add a granular organic fertilizer to this native ground soil here. We didn't know how well or not well anything that we planted in our native ground soil would do here in our food forest. And this is indeed an experimental planting of bush beans for us here back in our food forest. And thus far, I am pleased by the results of this grow experiment. Again, 14 plants. Our harvest is looking pretty good on this first round of bush beans, YouTube, from our backyard food forest. Somehow ripped that branch off. I don't know how we did that. Luckily, we didn't have any more blossoms on it. Or unripe beans. Again, thus far, from this experimental planting, I'm pretty pleased by the amount of beans that our bush beans have produced for us. As you guys can see, hopefully in that camera angle, we still have plenty of blossoms being produced by these plants. So I am indeed, as I said previously, expecting at least one more good harvest from these plants before they run their course here in our backyard food forest. The thing I love the most about these bush beans is you don't really require a trellis. You can just plant these guys. You can plant them dense. They'll love you for being planted dense. They like to hold hands and touch each other and all of that stuff while they're growing, so they'll love you for that. Which means if you have a small amount of grow space, you plant these beans densely and get a surprisingly huge harvest from a small amount of grow space. Again, these bush beans, you can plant the seeds about 1.5 inches, 2 inches apart, and they'll do just fine. Down to our last plant here in our food forest, YouTube, and it too is loaded with bush beans, as were all of the other previous 13 plants that we've already harvested beans from. Right. That was our 14th plant down there, YouTube. We're gonna give you guys a quick look at the totality of our bush bean harvest from back here on the sidewalk in our backyard food forest. Thanks for watching, and if indeed you currently are watching this video on harvesting yellow wax beans in our backyard food forest, and you're not already subscribed to the Green Thumb Gardening channel, please indeed take this moment to put that subscribe button beneath this video, that like button, that notification button, and be sure, YouTube, be sure to share this video with your friends and family as well. Yeah, harvesting yellow wax beans in our backyard food forest. Thanks for watching.